fascists to dream of came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come. And if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old...
It's Britney, bitch. It's not Britney. It's not Britney Spears. It's actually Kevin Logan. Hello. How are we all? Are we well? I do hope so. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. I am a disembodied voice. I couldn't be bothered to go on camera. Fuck it. Whatever. How are we getting on? I'm going over to Twitch now. Wanted to open the chat here. What? I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. Also, to the person who beadled me before we got going, that's not okay. Stop it. Okay? Stop. You can't beadle me before we even get going. That's not that. No, that's like that's beadle harassment at that point. That's beadle stalking. You can't beadle stalk me. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, or good afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. Some people are entirely in the wrong time zones, and that isn't okay. Sort yourselves the fuck out, but you know. You passed your second try... What? Hang on. I passed my trimester with an upper second. The fuck does that mean? Isn't trimester to do with being pregnant? I thought that was a pregnancy thing. Is that not a pregnancy thing? If so, who's judging? Like, what do you mean you passed it with an upper? What's an upper second? There's a lot going on there that I don't understand. I understood some of the words in the sentence though, and that, you know, that I think that counts. I think I fractured my ankle. Well, you should probably, I think, seek medical attention for that. Probably maybe go to the doctor if you can, if not the hospital or something, because it's how my course is structured. Well done to you. It sounds like that's a good thing then. It's a good awesome. Everyone give Benny a round of applause, because that's fucking dope. That's honestly, on this channel, the only drug we support, the only mind expanding drug that we support is knowledge. Okay? Education is the gift that keeps on giving. Although, of course, you probably will end up in lots of debt. So, you know, it's give and take with a lot of take. Maybe they mean semester. Well, they didn't write semester. So I'm not going to put words into anyone's mouth. Anyway. Yes, congratulations. So, again, everything I sounds sarcastic. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Even though I'm not on camera, sincerity cam. There you go. It's pointing at the wall. Fuck you. Right. Genuinely, congratulations. That's awesome. Yes. Anyway, right. For fuck's sake, Kev. Right. Hang on, I haven't even fucking paused that. You need the knowledge sound effect. Oh, fuck's sake, I didn't even plug my fucking thing in. Oh, bollocks. Big old fucking cock and bollocks. You can give me money. Basically, the point is you can give me money, right? There you go. In the form of bits and subscriptions and fucking super chats and... gargle my balls, and what else? Bits messages, super chats, all that bollocks. You get the idea. Hello, Fogel. How are you, mate? How goes the book, etc. By the way, everyone go and buy Fogel's book. I presume it's still for sale. I don't know. I'm not your fucking literary publisher yet. Hey, thank you, Katie.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Thank you, Katie Marshall, otherwise known as Mad Cat Scotty Eye, who everyone should go and follow on all of the platforms for 17 months on the Yam Tubes. Did his aspect ratio change so much as his face input? No, I couldn't be bothered tonight, basically. But my slight change of aspect ratio will return tomorrow or something. I don't know. Yes. So there is one order of business today, chat. Just one, and it involves Keith Briefcase KC, who is apparently Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland land.
A bunch of fascist slags.
But he acts like he's the branch manager of an American restaurant chain, because he basically is. It basically is. Yeah. Our supposed #1 super duper ally, the United States of Americana land, or as I like to think of it, some uppity colonies that need to get back in their fucking place. Independence, my arse. Anyway, he's trying to bully us? Because that's what friends do, right?
It's a fucking disgrace.
But you know what's even worse is the fact that the Prime Minister doesn't have a backbone. And by extension, neither does Britain. Yippity fucking doodah. Oh, suck a fucking fat one. There we go. This gives us a jumping off point to talk about British politics and American politics. Absolute shite. I suppose the Pennines kind of is a backbone. A little bit. Yeah. But I'm sorry, to call Scafell Pike a mountain is an embarrassment. Okay? For those who don't know, Scafell Pike is the highest point in England. And it's a hill. It's a bit of a gnarly hill, but it's a hill. It's not a fucking mountain. It's a hill. It's a big hill, but it's a hill. And like Snowdon is a mountain. Not a big mountain, but it's a mountain. Ben Nevis is a mountain. Albeit my dad did walk up it, so it doesn't seem that impressive actually. But that's a mountain. Scafell Pike is a bump.
Good morning.
Go fuck yourself, you cunt.
The world has become markedly more turbulent in recent
Actually, someone clipped that bit. I thought that went well.
events are moving fast. And in moments like this, what matters most is being clear about the values and the interests that guide us, even as circumstances change. The United Kingdom has a long history.
Yeah, let's not talk about that though. Let's really not talk about that. Like, do you want to go into the whole, you know, imperialism thing? Do you want to talk about some firing on innocent civilians on virtually every continent on the earth except Antarctica because the penguins know their fucking place?
Our values were not improvised. They were built patiently over time.
Yeah, like, oh, that's nice. I'll just shoot a brown person and steal it off of them. Like, I love it when people going about British values. What are our fucking values exactly? I've turned it up, Leckers. Thank you for the notification. Yes. What are our values? The rape and pillage of Earth? The murder of innocent people? The financial exploitation? Genocide? Like, we've got fucking statues outside Parliament of people who did genocide, and people inside Parliament who are doing genocide. Don't fucking talk to me about your values. There are people who deal heroin to children with better values than you.
And while we are pragmatic in how we pursue our interests, we are resolute in defending those values when it matters. So let me begin with the United States. The UK and the US are close allies.
Boo! Boo!
Very, 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 very cringe. Very, very, very cringe.
Lovely stuff.
And close partners. That relationship matters profoundly.
True, but it matters in the same way that, like, someone who's getting battered by their intimate partner in domestic violence thinks it matters. And like in all of those situations, if you can leave safely, you should.
Not just to our security, but to the prosperity and the stability that people here depend upon. under President Trump, as under previous presidents, we're determined to keep that relationship strong, constructive, and focused on results.
Right, but he threatened to tariff us for saying that you shouldn't invade an ally. I'm not sure you get the concept of what a friendship is, Kia. I mean, that's partly because you're a robot boy who doesn't understand the concept of human emotion or connection. So clearly you don't have friends as such. You have flesh bots that exist around you that pretend to be friendly towards you because you're quite powerful. But you don't understand human connection, clearly, because that's not a friendship. What's taking place here is abuse.
And that approach is delivering. Through sustained engagement, we've seen significant US investment into the UK economy, running into hundreds of billions of pounds, supporting growth, skills and jobs right across the country. Our cooperation on defence, nuclear capability and intelligence remains as close and effective as anywhere in the world, keeping Britain safe in an increasingly dangerous...
We literally have given them parts of our land for them to set up spying bases that they've used to spy on British citizens in Britain. How are they keeping us safe again? Doesn't seem like they're keeping us safe, actually, mate.
dangerous environment. We've secured good trading terms in
No, the Penguins beat us on that one as well.
key sectors.
No, notice he's not threatening the fucking Penguins again, because the Penguins stood up to him.
Including
They didn't flip him off, they flippered him off. Boom.
cars, steel, aerospace and life sciences, protecting British jobs and manufacturers. That is why we take the approach that we do, because it delivers concrete outcomes in the national interest. I talk regularly to President Trump, and my team is in daily contact with all the key figures in his administration.
Who were all, I mean, literally, never before has this been more appropriate.
A bunch of fascist slags.
Yeah.
These relationships matter. They deliver concrete outcomes in the national interest. Mature alliances are not about pretending differences don't exist. They are about addressing them directly, respectfully, and with a focus on results. On Greenland, the right way to approach an issue of this seriousness is through calm discussion between allies. And let's be clear, the security of Greenland matters.
By the way, the only reason he's addressing this is because the entire country thinks he's a massive cock who won't stand up to Trump. And all he does in this press conference is, like, not stand up to Trump.
And it will matter more as climate change reshapes the Arctic, as sea routes open and strategic competition intensifies.
That's one way of looking at it. That's an amazing, I suppose, positive spin on global warming will destroy the permanence of the ice caps, and therefore shipping lanes will open because there will no longer be ice there. It'll just be water. Well, ice is a form of water. It'll be liquid water. Yeah, always look on the bright side, eh, Keith?
High North will require greater attention, greater investment, and stronger collective defence. The United States will be central to that effort, and the UK stands ready to contribute fully alongside our allies
Cook!
through NATO. But there is a principle here that cannot be set aside, because it goes to the heart of how stable and trusted international cooperation works. And so any decision about the future status of Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. That right is fundamental, and we support it. Denmark is a close ally of the United Kingdom and of the United States.
It's not that close if they're threatening them, eh? Seems like some rogue state shit. Seems like some, like, I don't know, some Russia shit or something. Hello there, Mix Vivian Wolf. Everyone go and follow Viv on all of the platforms immediately and tell them that they're cool, because that's true. Anyway, we're currently watching Donald Trump's Fleshlight.
Proud NATO member that has stood shoulder to shoulder with us, including at real human cost in recent decades. Alliances endure because they're built on respect and partnership, not pressure. That is why I said the use of tariffs against allies is completely wrong. It is not the right way to resolve differences within an alliance. Nor is it helpful to
Jesus fucking Christ. He really has all the authority of the Do Not Tumble dry label. Like, he's just... Oh my god. Like, honestly, there are fucking supply teachers who are embarrassed at the lack of authority this creature has.
frame efforts to strengthen
There are fucking corpses with more riz than this creature.
Greenland's security as a justification for economic pressure. Such measures hurt British workers, British businesses, and the British economy. And that is why I've been so clear on this issue. A trade war is in no one's interest.
Get ready for him to use that phrase a dozen times.
And my job is always to act in the UK's national interest. That is why yesterday
How is you accepting all those Arsenal tickets in the national interest, Keith? Can you tell me that?
spoke to President Trump, to European leaders, and to the Secretary General of NATO to find a solution rooted in partnership, facts, and mutual respect.
Jesus Christ. Donald Trump, a man who has cheated on all of his wives, so partnership is not something he really values. Facts, I mean, a man who literally was going in about injecting bleach and putting sunlight up your dick or whatever, right, to get rid of COVID. So facts, not an issue. And mutual respect. Trump doesn't even respect himself, let alone anyone else. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Who do you think you're dealing with here? Have you met this creature? I mean, obviously you have met him, but have you met him in any other situation where you weren't scrabbling at his feet trying to pick up his papers because he's a dopey cunt? Fuck's sake.
Because that is how strong alliances protect shared interests. The same is true on other issues. In the Middle East, we welcome President Trump's focus on sustaining the ceasefire in Gaza and moving on to phase 2. We are open to participating constructively in such efforts. On Ukraine, I can be brief. We strongly support efforts to bring the killing to an end and secure a ceasefire as soon as possible. We recognise President Trump's role in pushing that process forward.
You are the biggest fucking cuck. You are the biggest bitch! Oh my god! As if this creature is at the helm during these times. Can you think of a person less suitable than this fucking husk? This hollow nobody. Fucking supply teacher minus.
And we will work closely with the United States, Ukraine, and our other allies to apply pressure where it belongs on Putin. Finally,
Didn't Trump just invite Putin to be part of the Gaza thing? I did see that, didn't I? Hang on. Oh, the Kremlin is saying that. Ah, okay. Well, it might be bollocks then. Who knows? No, fuck off, Guardian. I ain't fucking paying for you, you cunts. I'd pay for you to go away. Yeah. If that's true, then it seems like maybe he's not putting pressure on Putin. Well, he might be putting pressure on him, but it's largely on his prostate, I think.
Let me say why all this matters so directly to people here at home. In today's world, geopolitics is not something that happens somewhere else. It shapes the cost of energy.
Look, it pretty much always has. It's always been. It's a thing that affects us. Like, I remember reading it. There's a fantastic book called The Anarchy by a guy called William Dalrymple, who's a British historian, very based dude as well. And he writes about it's about the British East India Company, right? But in the preamble, sort of building up to this, he talks about India pre the arrival of the British in the British East India Company. And the Indian cotton textiles industry was so powerful that it caused the collapse of the textile industry in what we now know as Mexico, causing a recession in the 15th century. Geopolitics has always been a thing that has affected local economic outcomes. When you say in today's world, as if something fundamentally has changed there, it hasn't really. It might have sped up a bit because of the transmission of data has become a lot easier. The transport of products is a lot safer and quicker as well. But come on now.
Price of food, the security of jobs, and the stability that families rely on to plan their lives. When war drives up fuel prices, it's households who feel it first. When supply chains...
Oh, no. Okay, what you're mixing that up with, I can't give a duck, is the story of Mansa Musa, which was a different example of, I suppose, geopolitics in a way. Anyway, Mansa Musa was an incredibly wealthy king from the Sahel region of Africa, and was an early convert to Islam. And so, as is the thing you're supposed to do if you can afford to do so, is to go on the Hajj, where you take a trip to what is now Saudi Arabia, although that wouldn't exist for several hundred years, to the pilgrimage, right? And on the way there, he stopped off in Cairo, which makes sense because it's on the way and it's a big ass city. And he gave out so much gold to everybody. Literally, he was so generous. He was giving gold to people, gold coins and things like that, that it literally crashed the economy. There was massive inflation. And no one really understood economics at all back then. Economics as a concept didn't really exist. And people didn't know what had happened, but all of a sudden the money they had was fucking worthless. Yeah. So he crashed the economy of Egypt, medieval Egypt. But that's a different story. I only subscribe to Kevinomics. True.
Fracture. It's small businesses and working people who absorb the shock. And when instability grows, it's rarely those with the most power who pay the price. That is why this government's approach is rooted...
Yes, Mansa Musa, the Liz Truss of medieval Africa. True.
...in a simple belief that we must use every tool of government, domestic and international, to fight for the interests of ordinary people. At home, that means active government. It means taking responsibility for economic stability so that inflation is controlled, interest rates come down, and family budgets are protected. It means stepping in where markets fail
Whoa, 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 whoa. Markets can fail. But I thought the invisible hand of the market was the only thing that could sustain us. The freer the market, the freer the people. Fuck off.
Strengthening resilience and ensuring that global shocks do not always land on the same people in the same places, the people least able to withstand them. That's why we've taken action to reduce energy bills, to freeze rail fares.
Yeah, you'd hate for people who are always being shit on to be shit on more, which is why you're still trying to do more benefit cuts, you cunt.
And prescription charges. But tackling the cost of living today also means engagement beyond our borders. It requires shaping the world around us, not retreating from it. It requires strong alliances, steady diplomacy.
Yeah, but the one with America is not a fucking strong alliance. If they're threatening us for standing up for a fellow ally, that's not a strong alliance, is it? That's not a strong friendship. That's not a partnership you can trust and depend upon.
And rules that reduce uncertainty rather than amplify it. That is why our commitment to international law and to alliances founded on trust is not abstract or ideological. It's practical. It's about stability, predictability, and fairness. The conditions that keep prices down, jobs secure, and economies resilient. That is what active government looks like in an age of uncertainty. Steady at home, engaged abroad, and always focused on protecting the people.
Steady at home. Honestly, he's going to go down. He's going to die on this hill, isn't he? I'm the sensible. I'm predictable and steady, and I'm just normal and boring. In an age where people are literally going to fucking elect Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister. Yeah, people don't want your technocracy, mate. We've had enough of your shite. Please leave.
That we serve. Britain is a pragmatic country. We look for agreement.
What fucking country do you live in? Because it's not this one. Oh, God. Honestly, like, we take the piss out of Americans for doing the American exceptionalism thing. Like, oh, you call it the Super Bowl, and it's, oh, they're world champions. All that shit, right? Number one. All that, right? It's hilarious and dumb, and we mock you all for it. And rightly so. But the point is, Britain does that too. It's just like everything with Britain. It's a lot more understated. Honestly, I genuinely think that the thing that can sum up the difference between Britain and America is the house that we give our head of government to live in. So in America, you've got the White House, this big white marble edifice right in the centre of Washington, D.C. Massive big fucking house with grounds and all the rest of it. And in Britain, it's a house. It's just a residential house. Like, the fact that the Prime Minister lives there is the only really notable thing about it, really. But both of them are like ludicrously expensive and stupid and not entirely appropriate for the purpose. But in America you do big and flashy, whereas here we just do old. Just old stuff, you know. But we do exceptionalism. I've got sidetracked there. Anyway. We do a British exceptionalism where we pretend that we're not perfidious Albion. We pretend that we're not the evil one to most countries. Like, when most countries celebrate their Independence Day, they're celebrating it from like either like France or Britain, basically. The occasional one from Spain or Portugal or whatever, but it's mostly France and Britain. So we're the bad guys. We're literally the fucking Mitchell and Webb meme are we the baddies. We literally are the baddies. And yet we'll pretend to be like, oh, we support the rules-based order, whilst doing a genocide.
Believe in partnership. We prefer solutions to slogans. And we will
I
not
ju-
indulge in commentary.
Jesus Christ, as if you are going to go on about we don't like slogans. Mr. fucking 5 missions to a roadmap to turn the corner and reset to fix the foundations of national patriotic renewal. I support flag. Like, what the fuck? You're just a machine that spews out slogans. You are a fucking slogan in a suit. You are 2 slogans in a trench coat.
Get the fuck like him not play me all these mutants.
Who was that? Thank you, DJ Che, for coming in with the Raiderinos. Much love. Everyone hit the follow button, etc. Everyone go and follow DJ Che. At the moment, we're watching Donald Trump's cum rag.
And gesture politics that harm the British people. But being pragmatic does not mean being passive. And partnership
No, it doesn't mean being passive. It just is that you are that.
does not mean abandoning principle.
Well, that's good, because you've never had any fucking principles.
That is why it's important to be clear about who we stand with, what we stand for, and where our interests lie. Now, this is a moment.
Okay, what are your fucking principles then? Genuinely, what are your principles? Also, when it comes to America, we're not standing so much as we're on our knees. Or all fours, depending on what they prefer that day.
For the whole country to pull together. So I warmly welcome the support we've had with regards to Greenland and the proposed tariffs from the leader of the opposition. I thank her for her support. At moments like this, there will always be people who reach for the performative, who think an angry social media post.
Oh, for God's You know, I can't wait for you to lose, Kia. I can't wait. He's still doing I'm the adult in the room. You're doing the student politics. Okay, but I'm not the one literally having Donald Trump come on my fucking tits, okay? That's you, mate.
Or grandstanding is a substitute for hard work. That's an understandable instinct. But it's not effective. It never has been.
How the fuck are you being effective? How has your strategy been effective, Keith? You're steady and sure and predictable, technocracy, and Trump's still gonna absolutely fucking spunk all over your face. Okay? The idea that you're like, oh, you shouldn't do this other thing because that's not effective. Motherfucker. You've been the least effective Prime Minister in the history of the world. Like, Liz Truss at least was effective. Effective in the same way that the Luftwaffe was effective for British city planning. But, you know, effective. She made an impact. You are genuinely nothing. That's the best thing I can say about Keith, is that he's nothing. If he didn't exist, the world wouldn't change. If he died, would anyone notice? Would his wife notice? Would his kids notice? Would the Ukrainian rent boys notice? Yeah, because they're not going to get paid. Yeah. Okay.
It may make politicians feel good, but it does nothing for working people whose jobs, livelihoods and security rely on the relationships that we build across the world. So to conclude, we will work with our allies in Europe, across NATO and with the United States.
You know how his dad was a toolmaker? If he got assassinated, and obviously I hope he doesn't get assassinated because that would be terrible and bad and illegal, but if he were to get assassinated, would his assassin be a tool unmaker? I think so.
We will keep dialogue open. We will defend international law. And we'll...
I mean, what do I even say to this? What do I say?
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Like, the idea that this motherfucker is defending international law. What the fuck are you okay, genocide, bitch. Yeah, whatever.
We will use the full strength of government at
Sir Kid Murderer, KC.
home and abroad to protect the security, living standards and future of the British people. That is the approach I will take as Prime Minister. And that is the responsibility that this moment demands. Thank you.
Honestly, someone in chat said it's giving Deputy Headmaster giving a speech to an assembly vibes, and honestly, I think that's doing the Deputy Headmasters of this country a disservice. As a person who sat through many a Deputy Head trying to inspire anything other than absolute fucking tedium from a group of children who would literally much rather cut off several of their own limbs than listen to this, that was inspiring by comparison to what we just heard. 11 minutes of drivel from a fucking non-entity, from a shriveled up worm boy. Pathetic. Not even a word of condemnation for a fucking strongman bully in Washington trying to fucking piss on this nation for daring to stand up to a long-term ally. Ironically, a much longer-term ally than the United States has been. Albeit we have also bombed the shit out of Copenhagen at least a couple of times. But to be fair, we burnt down the White House, so like, you know, it's a scratch in that regard.
I'm now going to take some questions, and I've got a...
What is it, Clem H. Fandango? What are you champing about? You had a lot of deputy head. I was a child. That is an inappropriate joke.
fairly extensive list, you'll be pleased
I'm only playing.
to know. I'm going to start, Chris, with Chris Mason from BBC News.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Chris Mason, BBC News. This is clearly incredibly difficult. What more in specific terms can you tell us about what you plan to do now? It appears that you're ruling out retaliatory tariffs from the UK. Can you confirm that? And would
Obviously, he's the most bollockless fuck in the world. He's not going to fucking fight back. He's not going to do anything. He's got the same approach to defence that the kiwi bird has, which is stand still and hope it doesn't eat you. That's, by the way, that's how the kiwi reacts. It evolved without predators, which is why it doesn't need to fly or hide or run or anything. Just doesn't do anything. It just stands there, which means that when Europeans turn up with cats and dogs, they eat all the fucking kiwis. Dickheads.
Would you consider going to see President Trump face to face this week? Thank you.
Well, what I'm going to do now is to focus on our national interest and be absolutely clear that that requires us to be clear about the principles that we apply to a situation like this.
As opposed to the principles we apply to anything else, including Israel.
In particular, that the future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Denmark Kingdom, and that tariffs should not be used against allies in this way.
Okay, and what are you going to do to deter him from ever doing this again? Nothing. You're going to do literally nothing. You're going to suck his dick and hope he stops. God, this is fucking embarrassing.
In relation to the escalation, look, a tariff war is in nobody's interests, and we...
He's not. He doesn't do slogans. It's just that's like the fourth time he said a tariff war. It doesn't suit anybody. It's in no one's interest.
I've not got to that stage, and my focus, therefore, is making sure we don't get to that stage, and that's what I'm doing at the moment.
There's not. This is the thing. That's a lie. Fundamentally, that's a lie, right? Because there's nothing that Trump could do that he would ever fight back against. You watch. Like, let's say Trump does invade Greenland. I don't think he actually will. I still think it's a bluff and a distraction from the Venezuela thing, which was a distraction from the fact that he's a paedophile. Because everyone noticed how we're not talking about the Epstein thing and the fact that Trump's a paedophile and that Elon Musk is a paedophile and the fact that fucking Andrew Saxe-Coburg-Gotha-Windsor is a paedophile. You notice how we're not talking about that very obvious series of facts. Anyway, let's say he does invade Greenland. He's not going to do anything about it. He's not going to do shit. Not that we really could do a great deal in terms of like military. We're not going to be able to fight back against America, but like you don't need to. You can actually condemn a thing. You can actually tariff somebody. You could leave NATO. You could do any number of different things to signal your deep disgust at what's taken place. And he won't do any of those things. He'll say, we're monitoring the situation. The Greenlanders, they don't have a right to defend themselves. She doesn't have a right to defend herself. No. Oh no. Oh no. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okie doke. Moving on.
Thank you, Chris. Beth, can I come to you?
Thank you. Prime Minister, many people watching this at home will have been shocked and angry over the weekend that our so-called closest ally is threatening us if we try to stop him illegally annexing Greenland. Is this the most serious crisis in the transatlantic relationship in decades? And how can the US remain our closest ally when it's bullying us like this?
Wow, a journalism has erupted at Downing Street. Fucking hell.
And just on tariffs, you say they are completely wrong and it will hurt the British economy, but if Trump does go ahead, to be clear, are you telling the British people that we will have to take that economic pain, and are you planning retaliatory tariffs if that?
Well, basically he's saying, yes, you are going to have to do that because I'm never going to fight back against Trump. We are literally defenseless. This man is supposed to defend us, and he's going, no, I'm actually just going to roll over and take it. No, that's fine, actually. Oh, yeah, that journo, definitely banned. Has lost the whip and everything, I'm sure.
Happens. Thank
you, Beth. And firstly, to underscore your point, this has been very badly received across the United Kingdom. We're allies of...
Yeah, exactly, which is the reason you're addressing it. You didn't want to address it. The last thing in the world you wanted to do was this press conference. To answer these questions and pretend like this is like a situation that you've got in hand, because you fucking don't.
The United States, and we work closely with them, and therefore I'm not surprised by the reaction that's been across the United Kingdom, and it is a very serious situation. Our job is to ensure that we find a way forward consistent with our principles and our values and consistent with our national interest. And the US remains a close ally on defence, on security.
Not that close, is it? Seems like maybe they don't respect us in any way whatsoever and are actually quite dangerous and harmful to us, and that maybe we need to reassess our geopolitical stratagem.
On intelligence, on nuclear capability, we've worked very closely with the United States, and we must never lose sight of our national interest in that. But we must stand up for our values. We must be clear about the principles that we are applying here, and we'll continue to do so.
Okay, be consistent then. If self-determination is really important, right, and war is bad and should be avoided, why do you never apply that to the people of Palestine? Why is it that Greenland should get to decide what Greenland does, but the Palestinians should do whatever Benjamin Netanyahu wants? up to and including getting killed. Seems like you don't have that much consistency, Keith. Just saying.
On the question of tariffs, a tariff war isn't in anybody's interests.
We should do a counter. How many times has he said that now? 3, 4? I don't know.
And therefore, what I want to do is to avoid a tariff war, because it will be businesses, workers and families across the country that will be hit by a trade war. And therefore, I will do as I've set out, which is to engage with our European allies, with President Trump. And Chris, in response to the second part of your question, I spoke to President Trump yesterday, as I think you all know, and I'll no doubt speak to him again in coming days. Continually, our offices talk all the time, but we must find a pragmatic, sensible, sustained way through this.
Sensible. Pragmatic and sensible. Literally write that on his fucking tombstone. You might as well, because he's already dead inside.
That avoids some of the consequences that will be very serious for our country. Thank you very much, Beth. Robert Peston.
Robert Peston, ITV. Prime Minister, your entire approach is predicated on the idea that Donald Trump is amenable to reason and respects the rule of...
Peston with a nuke! Love it. Yeah, your entire thing is predicated that the idiot who doesn't give a fuck about truth at all really respects truth and gives a shit about it. Because the thing is, Keith, you can't be the adult in the room when the person you're talking to isn't an adult. Mentally, at least. Man, woman, camera, TV, etc. He's gone. Like, his brain's fucking mush. He's a weird fascist...
The melt.
Piece of shit, okay? He didn't care about truth. He doesn't care about doing things properly. He's not a good faith actor. The international law has, I mean, he doesn't give a fuck about American law, let alone international law. There's no reasonability to it. He's not a sensible kind of guy. So you going in there doing your adults in the room bit won't work. He doesn't respect that. You will lose.
of law, but it's patently clear that neither of those assumptions are true. So when will you consider some kind of economic retaliation through...
He won't. He won't. There's nothing that Trump could do that will ever make him fight back. Because he's got no... Look, there are fucking amoeba with more moral fibre than this creature. He's got no backbone, no cojones, nothing.
Through tariffs. And will you talk to the monarch, to the king, about not going to America to celebrate 250 years since independence?
Well, I mean, firstly, quotation marks, independence. Because, like, I don't accept American independence, okay? I don't recognise American independence. And I think we can all admit that the concept of independence was a mistake. The Americans have Declaration of Independence. Yeah, we didn't agree to that shit. Fuck you, right? It's been a mistake. Allowing America off the leash to do a kind of civilizational rumspringer, if you will. That we've let them go a little bit crazy in their youth, because they're only like 250 years old nearly. I mean, they're whippersnappers. You let them have a little bit of fun, but now it's time to knuckle down, get a job, get married, and have a boring life. Okay, America?
Well, Robert, this is a serious situation, and as I've said, threatening tariffs on allies is the wrong thing to do, completely wrong.
Oh no, I'm not against all independence. I'm just against American independence because it isn't real. They are uppity colonies of His Royal Britannic Majesty, and eventually they'll come back into the warm embrace of Mother England. I'm sure. 1776, the worst year in American history. What in the name of Christ is that? Are you insinuating that the fucking... Is that the International Space Station or whatever? Is Donald Trump's cock? Is that... Who would America get married to? Canada. Look, America has tried flirting with various hot girls down the years, and the plain Jane next door, perfect wife material. Okay? Childbearing hips. You know she's not going to cheat on you, right? She's glad for the attention, in all honesty.
And a trade war is not in our interests, and therefore my first task is to ensure we don't get to that place, which is what I'm focused on at the moment and will continue to focus on. In relation to wider issues, I don't want to lose sight of the central goal here, which
Canada would do a war crime if it was cheated on. Canada does genocide when it wasn't cheated on. Don't make Canada break out the residential schools again. Fucking hell. Again, just to bear in mind, Britain is worse. Britain is worse.
At this very moment, Britannia burns.
which is to avoid the seriousness that a trade war would bring. In relation to your broader point, we do have to remember at all times that it is in our national interest that we continue to work with the Americans when it comes.
To be fair, right, the fun fact there about Norway, Norwegian independence, etc., etc. What I would say is that, you know who's getting off very lightly in this whole Greenland situation? Norway. Hear me out. The only reason that there are, like, people there now, other than, like, native peoples or whatever, whiteoids, it's because some dickheads left Norway and went to Iceland, and from Iceland to Greenland. Honestly, Eric the Red is getting off very fucking lightly in all of this. The prick. Oh no, we're just over here, we're just Norway, it's fine. Oh, we're just nice and we've got the Sovereign Wealth Fund and lots of oil. Dickheads. Not many white people in Greenland. There's plenty of white people. What are you talking about? I mean, not plenty, because I mean there aren't that many people of any description in Greenland. It's got a population of like 12 people or whatever, you know. Not literally, but you know. So what is the population? It's like 20,000 or something. Greenland, not green and population. What the fuck? 56 to 57,000. Oh, that's a bit more than I thought.
To defence, to security and to intelligence. Our nuclear deterrent is our foremost weapon and deterrent when it comes to securing the safety of everybody in the United Kingdom. It's my primary duty. And that requires us to have a good relationship with the United States. But it doesn't mean, as I said a moment ago, that we pretend we don't have differences. We do have differences.
Right, and what are you going to do about that, other than just accept whatever the fuck they want? What the fuck? You're not even answering the question. Oh, it's not just a difference. They're threatening to invade an ally. Imagine if fucking Russia was doing this. Imagine if Russia said it wanted to invade Greenland. Do you think we'd be having a respectful dialogue with our important ally, Vladimir Poot-Poots? No. Hey Kev, I'll give you a donation if you attempt to say Greenland's name in their language. It's got a Welsh double L. Yeah, go for it, man. If you show me what it is, I will do it, and then you can give me money. Yes. America has a base on Greenland. America has a massive base on Greenland. There's literally no reason for them to ever need to annex Greenland. They get everything they want from Greenland now. Which is why I don't think Trump wants to do it. I think it's a distraction. It's a pointless distraction. And he knows he's only going to piss off countries that can't really do anything. And not just can't do anything as in couldn't, like, militarily hurt America, but literally can't afford to even step out of line. Even Denmark is being, like, super nicey about this and being like, oh, well, it is a part of Denmark, actually, please. Can we all just calm down, yeah? Like, there's no, like, this is fascism, this is evil shit, and blah blah blah. None of that. No. This isn't a war crime or anything like that. This is just a disagreement between allies. It's bollocks, right? Game on. Oh, okay. Kalalit Nunat. Boom. The Kev nails it. I apologise to all Greenlandic people for what I assume was culturally one of the most insensitive things you've ever heard, I imagine. But free Greenland.
And I've set out some of those differences here this morning in relation to Greenland. Differences of opinion in terms of who should decide the future of Greenland. I'm very clear in my position in that. And differences of opinion on...
The only good thing that could happen if Donald Trump does invade Greenland, and it would be obviously a very, very unfunny situation. But the only sort of funny or interesting bit will be watching Sir Keith here and the various Europeans pretend to do anything about it. Because they're not going to actually do anything about it. It's them having to, scurry for a new position. Because at the minute, they can just say, well, we disagree with America, actually, and that's fine. And you're not actually going to lose anything there. Right? You're not going to lose anything. It's just sort of harmless, in a sense. Politically, it's a bit damaging, but nothing too terrible. Whereas, if you come out and say, we disagree about this is bad...
good, sometimes maybe shit.
Good on you and good effort. Have a pack of knickknacks.
Knickknacks? That was a weird pronunciation, robot boy. Anyway, thank you, Cymru. Much love to you. And thank you, Carl Brown, for the gifted membership. Much love. Yes. If you come out and say this is bad, we disagree, you can't do this, etc., etc., and then he does it, and you do nothing, that, you can't come back from that. You're over. You've been shown to be the biggest cock bitch that's ever existed. And that's exactly what will happen if Trump ever does invade Greenland. And again, I really don't think he will. I think I'm pretty safe staking on that one. I don't think he needs to. I don't think he wants to. But it is a very good distraction from literally everything else, including the fact that he is a child rapist. He rapes children. He's raped children on the Epstein Island. The good friend of Epstein rapes children.
The use of tariffs in a situation like this. And again, I've been very clear saying they're completely wrong. So we apply our values you don't have values. We seek a solution that's in our national interest. Okay. Thank you, Robert. Chris Hope.
Chris Hope, GB News, Prime Minister. Donald Trump says he no longer feels an obligation to think purely of peace. Is now the moment we must choose between the...
To be fair, right, at least that's sort of honest, right? For instance, the fact that America now calls their Department of Defense the Department of War, officially, is just much more honest. Because America doesn't have, a defensive military. No big country does, really. But there are some countries that just have enough to be okay, if anyone starts some shit, we can call up some reservists and put up a decent show, right? That's defensive. Whereas America has naval ships everywhere.
Get some help.
It has fucking naval ships everywhere. Literally, it blew my mind. A fucking US Coast Guard ship was attacked by Iran. And when I saw that news, I was like, what the fuck? Iran's got ships near America and shit. Because I was thinking in my head, in my naivete, I heard US Coast Guard and I assumed it was near the US coast. No, the US Coast Guard ship was in the Straits of Hormuz. What? As a naval ship, you would think they'd be better at navigating than to be 5,000 miles away from any piece of American coast in the Coast Guard. You're not doing defensive war or not doing defensive military posturing there, are you? You're literally just doing imperialism everywhere. So calling it the Department of War is at least more honest. It's despicable, but it's more honest.
the US and the EU? Is this a fracturing in your special relationship?
Firstly, I don't think it's right for us to choose between the US and Europe.
But you have chosen America very clearly. Like this was this when you say this isn't the moment to, yes it is. You are either with Denmark or you're well, I suppose technically you're either with Greenland or you're with America. You have chosen to be with America. You have chosen to placate America than to support our allies in Europe. Get wrecked.
That's not a new position today. That's the position I've consistently held, as have previous governments, because we are allies with our European partners and allies with the US. And the strength in being able to keep both those.
Honestly, the Trilateral Commission KC is trying really hard right now to like make the the Atlanticist dreams stay alive, but like it's dead, Keith. It's dead. It's over. You need to come up with a new policy. Just hoping that the thing you were comfortable with 20 years ago can just carry on. It's not really a working strategy, is it? Was Neville Chamberlain this bad? No, to be fair, Neville Chamberlain fucking tried. Neville Chamberlain, as a 70-year-old man, went on a fucking flight, which doesn't sound like that big a deal, but back then was, you know, I think he was only like the second Prime Minister to ever actually take a flight in an aeroplane as Prime Minister, and flew all the way to fucking to Munich to meet in the middle of the fucking night and to desperately try and avoid the war. He did everything he could. Now, he bent over backwards and he fucked up, and, you know, I'm not trying to like redeem him or anything, but at least he gave it a go. He put himself out there. Whereas Keith's just like, oh no, I'm just a cock. I'm just a cock boy. I'm just a cock boy. I'm just Donald Trump's little fucking cum sock.
Alliances has served us well over the last 80 years. So this is not a moment to choose one between the other. I have argued, and this is not an argument for the first time today, and I've spoken to European allies and leaders about the need for Europe to step up and do more in its own defence and security. I feel that over many years we've not paid enough attention to what we European nations can and should do in our own defence, and this...
Yeah, but you're saying that because of Donald Trump, you bitch.
...reinforces...
He's literally just... He's only ever taken this posture since Trump came in and was like, you have to spend more on fucking NATO spending and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, that's the only reason he's doing this talking point.
Why it's important that we do that in defence and security. And defence and security these days, of course, includes energy and resilience and cyber, as well as the traditional defence and security. Europe has to step up into that space, and that's an argument I've been leading on and making for a number of months now with our European partners, and will continue to do so. Thank you, Chris. I've got Gary Gibbon from Channel 4. Gary.
Gibbon!
Thank you.
Old Gibbo, the Gibster.
Prime Minister, you say that Donald Trump remains an ally, but a lot of people would look at his behaviours and say he's not remotely behaving like an ally. Is there...
True. Honestly, some journalism taking place here. Oh my word.
Anything he could do that would make you think he was no longer an ally? Or is it just unthinkable?
That's the question. That's the question. That's it. That's the question. Is there anything this cunt could do that would actually make you stand up to him? Ever? Is there anything he could do? Is there any line? Is there any humiliation that you won't endure? Is there any cuckoldery that you won't have to sit through? Is there any debasement that you aren't prepared to sink to placate this fucking rapist? And the answer, of course, is no. There is nothing he could do. He is a willing, compliant, if somewhat crusty, cumsock for Donald Trump.
unthinkable. We totally locked in. And just one other, if I may, some puzzlement that those forces, quite limited military personnel that went to Greenland, that he interpreted that as a hostile act. Do you have any sense that he might have been misinformed about that in entire expedition?
Well, taking the second bit first, if I may, that is one of the things I discussed with President Trump yesterday in relation to those forces which were clearly there to assess and work on risk from the Russians. And so there's real clarity, I hope, about that. In relation to the relationship, we
stick it in the stream suggestions, 255.
must never lose sight,
please and thank you,
of the fact that on defence, security, intelligence and nuclear capability, we work very closely with our US allies, and it's in our national interest to continue to do so. That doesn't mean...
The Dalek from accounts, true. Enumerate.
Pretending we don't have differences, and I don't think anybody could suggest I'm pretending we don't have differences. I'm spelling out what those differences are, what our principles and values are, and
but
how
it's not
we
a difference.
approach them.
It's not, but it's not just a difference, is it? It's not. It's opposite. It's not just a difference of opinion or a slight interpretation. It's literally, does the rule of law count or not? Is the sovereignty of Danish territory a thing or not? It's not a difference of opinion.
But we do continue to work with the Americans. The situation in the Middle East is fragile. There is a ceasefire.
You know what, you're right. Zach Polanski has been brilliant during all of this. And again, just goes to show you, Zach Polanski talking about looking outside of NATO for a new approach for Britain. But honestly, being left-wing, in Britain especially, but I think around the world, is just being correct 3 or 4 years before the rest of the world realises you were correct. And then the fucking conservatoid pricks never learn the lesson. And will say whatever you're now currently saying is mad and crazy and evil and bad, and that's not sensible, you're doing student politics. And then they'll realise you were right 3 years later, but never credit you and never learn the lesson. Rinse and fucking repeat. Wes will stand up to Dunny the diaper sniper. What the fuck?
We need to move to phase...
The diaper sniper. I don't even know what that really means, but it is funny.
2. We mustn't lose sight of that. In Ukraine, we've been striving for a just and lasting peace for a long time now. We're 4 years into that conflict.
Yeah, it's going super well, that striving. Yeah, no, they're strong and steady, mate. Yeah.
It's in our interest to work with others to bring about that just and lasting peace.
No, but the thing is, the question wasn't should we work alongside people who we can work alongside of. Is there anything that Donald Trump could do that would actually cause you to stand up to him ever? And your answer shows very conclusively that no, there is nothing he could do. There is no debasement that he could make you suffer that would force you to stand up. Because it would require a spine to stand up, wouldn't it?
Thing we should do is to simply throw all that away and pretend that it doesn't matter anymore. It does matter. But we don't do that by pretending we haven't got differences. We do have differences, and I'm spelling them out here this morning. Thank you very much, Gary. I've got
Just
Kitty
slogans.
Donaldson from iNews.
Thank you, Prime Minister. The US Supreme Court's due to rule next week on whether the tariffs are legal for the President to use. Do you think it's worth just biding your time until next week? And secondly, I don't think you answered Robert's question, which was, do you think the King should go to the United States this year?
I mean, the first bit was fucking weird. Should you just hope that the Trump stacked court will do the thing that he doesn't want them to do? No, what? And then, yeah, should the King go to America? You know who I think should go to America? Not necessarily, not the King. The King's brother should go to America and be charged for the rape of children, which he has done in the United States. He should face justice for the child rapes. That I'm okay with that.
I'm not going to comment on the Supreme Court ruling. I think it's due out reasonably soon. But
also, like, Trump doesn't give a fuck if it's constitutional. Like, the court can say anything. It doesn't matter. He's not going to fucking follow that ruling anyway. He don't give a fuck about the Constitution.
I don't think it would be sensible to simply wait for the court. It's really important that we act now in response to...
Imagine if he Maduro'd King Charlie. That would be hilarious. That would be fucking brilliant. If he just arrested him for... you've been smuggling in sausages disguised as fingers. You're arrested. Let's go.
The threat of tariffs, and that's why I spoke to President Trump yesterday and to numerous allies across Europe, many leaders during the course of yesterday afternoon, Secretary General of NATO, and will continue to do so today, because it's in all our interests to act swiftly in relation to this matter. Look, in relation to the King and other issues, as I said in my speech, I'm focused on the pragmatic response here, not...
Pragmatic? I'm pragmatic and sensible. Honestly, I hope you die.
The suggestion of others, and my focus is on what's in the national interest for our country, what is going to best protect.
Again, that is, just to clarify for any police that are watching, that's not a threat, that's just a wish. It's just a wish, okay? No one should do anything, okay? No one should do anything. I'm just saying, if he had a heart attack and died, I would get an erection. No, it's not satire. I'm not going to pretend it's satire. It's a sincere wish. Keir Starmer dying would be fucking brilliant. But I'm just suggesting that nothing illegal should be done to bring that into a state of affairs. Okay? If he were to die of natural causes, that would be fucking brilliant. I'm trying to give you a fucking legal defense. I don't need a legal defense. What I've said is not illegal. To wish death upon a person is not illegal. To call for someone's murder would be illegal. To try and inspire somebody to do harm to another person would be illegal. I am strictly saying, do not do harm to this person. Physically, emotionally, whatever. By all means, criticise him for his political acts. That's absolutely fine, but you can't murder the man. But if he died of natural causes, if he got cancer, I'd chuckle my bollocks off. That'd be hilarious. Imagine if he went bald. Imagine if he was going through chemo and went bald as Prime Minister. Oh, that'd be dope. That'd be so dope.
Workers, families, businesses, and I believe that's the approach that I've set out. Thank you, Kitty. I've got Craig Munro from the Metro.
Craig Munro from Metro. You spoke about the cost of living in your speech there. How can you be sure, how can you reassure people that the cost of living will improve in the UK when our economic picture is so reliant on an unreliable ally in an unstable global world?
By taking the approach that I've set out today. Argument that what happens internationally is irrelevant to the cost of living issues that are faced across this country. I'm well aware that for all the volatility in the world, and we've seen plenty of that in the first few weeks of this year.
Literally very
the issue
boring.
that is of central concern to families and communities
So boring.
across the country is the cost
God,
of living.
this guy's
Wherever you go
fucking
in the country
boring.
and ask people what their number one concern is, they will say it's the cost of living, and therefore we have to address it. We address it in a number of ways. Firstly, by taking the measures to stabilise the economy so that inflation coming down, interest rates coming down, and protecting family budgets is crucial to that. By being active where markets fail, stepping in on energy bills.
But markets can't fail. Markets are perfect. The free market will free people.
Rail fares, prescription charges, etc.
What is it, Clem?
Also by working relentlessly on matters that are international.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Don't write a fucking a novel and then try and get me to fucking have to read it on it. Right. One, I think the court probably will rule against the tariffs because most of them are like free market ideologues, more than they're loyal to Trump. 2, them doing that will actually have teeth because enforcing the tariffs would require courts to penalise people for not paying them, which they won't do if the SCOTUS says they're not legal. You don't quite understand how fascist governance works, I think, 255. The courts are, largely speaking, captured, I think. You don't really, like, courts are there as showpieces. They're not there to actually really affect anything. I don't think Trump gives two fucks. He'll just do a slightly differently worded thing, and you can take him to the courts again, but he'll still be able to do it for the next 2 years. And then if they rule against him, he'll do a slightly different version of it, and you'll have to take him to court again. And it doesn't matter. He'll get his way. Because that's what fascist governance is about. It's about power. Trump doesn't care what the Constitution says. Because he can't read, so he hasn't read it. He doesn't understand what any of the words mean. He's not interested. He's just like, oh, tariff good. And that's it. It's reactionary politics, you know.
Because the impact of what's happening internationally on what's happening domestically is obvious, it's real, it's probably more direct now than it's been at any time most of us can remember, and therefore it would be a dereliction of duty on the cost of living not to be engaged on the international stage. Thank you very much, Craig. I've got Jason Groves from the Daily Mail. Jason.
Thanks, PM. Your Danish counterpart says NATO can't survive one member, the biggest, seizing the territory of another. Do you agree with her? And separately, are you willing to join the President's Board of Peace, and are you willing to pay for it?
Well, look, in relation to the Danish Prime Minister, as you would have anticipated, I spoke to her on Saturday night. I spoke to her again yesterday, and made absolutely clear our position on who decides the future of Greenland.
God almighty, you're just going to repeat the same shit. The question was, can NATO survive? If this thing goes down, if the shit hits the fan here, can NATO survive? And you're just like, our position is the thing I've said 12 fucking times already. Why doesn't anyone like me? Beep boop. Our position. Beep boop. National interest. Beep boop. Trade war, not good for anybody. No one's interest. Beep boop.
And the use of tariffs, and we're completely aligned on those issues. On the question of NATO, it is in all of our interest to make sure that NATO remains strong and stable. We had a very good NATO
strong
summit.
And stable. Oh God, we've got boring Liz Truss. Not boring Liz Truss. Boring Theresa May. Strong and stable. Strong and stable. Fucking hell. Honestly. Oh, this guy's like getting AIDS or something, man. He's just fucking painful. He is the hepatitis of British politics.
Last year, with more members than we've had before, with more unity than many people thought we would achieve. And NATO remains the single most effective and successful military alliance the world has ever known. So it's in all of our interest to make sure that nothing is done to weaken NATO.
It's already been fucking weakened. Trump has weakened it. This is exactly why Putin wanted him to become president. Chaos. Sow chaos and division in your enemy. And this is exactly it.
On the question of the Board of Peace, look, we're supportive of the measures that are being taken across the Middle East, particularly the ceasefire. I do think we need to press on to phase 2. We've indicated our willingness.
Phase 1 hasn't happened. They haven't stopped killing. They haven't stopped murdering Palestinians. What are you talking about? Can we just pretend that part 1 happened and then just do part 2, which is even fucking worse?
Willingness to play our part, and we will. And on the Board of Peace, we're talking to allies about the terms of the Board of Peace. Thank you very much, Jason.
Interestingly, there doesn't appear to be a single Palestinian who's been invited to be a part of it, so, you know. If anyone was wondering whether this can possibly work, no, it can't.
Got Lizzie Buchan from the Daily Mirror.
Thanks, Prime Minister. The head of the UN says that he believes that the US thinks its own power matters more than international law. Do you agree? And
Wow, the person at the UN said that. Well, that won't change anything at all. Brilliant. Either way, yeah, obviously, fucking obviously, yes. Obviously, America has always thought its power was much fucking more important than international law. In fact, their application of international law is solely based upon their own power. International law is a thing that they can enforce upon people they don't like and ignore when it comes to people, or not people, countries that they support. So, Russia is doing genocide and war crimes in Ukraine, which, by the way, is true. But Israel isn't. No, that's fine. That's fine. She has a right to defend herself, etc., etc. International law, as it has worked for the last 30 fucking years, has been nothing other than a vessel that America can fill with its own piss and then throw into the faces of the world's poor. I'm not sure that analogy quite works, but you get the idea.
secondly, if I may, you've repeatedly promised to deliver a Hillsborough law, but the bill was pulled last night. Are you confident?
Because they wanted to let spies get away with it, because, you know, they've literally already betrayed the Hillsborough families. I genuinely hope this person gets cancer.
You can win back the support of families, and can you guarantee it becomes law before the end of the session?
Yeah, thank you, Lizzie. Well, look, in relation to your first point, I've put my argument in my way, in my own words, and
yeah, and everyone fell asleep. You're a cunt.
That's my approach, rather than sort of commentating on what others have said. On Hillsborough, as you know, I care hugely that we get this right.
Which is why you've tried to undermine it and weaken it every possible turn, and have abandoned and betrayed the families. Yeah, we know.
That we right the wrongs for very many families who've been let down, and ensure a better future for families in the future. In relation to the duty of candour, we've been clear that that matters. What we're now trying to do is just make sure we get the balance right when it comes.
He wanted to allow the secret services, so like MI5, MI6, to allow the heads of those organisations to say which cases and which information could be released and couldn't be released. Therefore, essentially allowing them to police themselves, knowing full well that secrecy and not revealing any information under any circumstances is literally one of the core parts of what that organisation is. So, you know, basically completely gutting the bill. Thankfully, though, even Labour MPs had enough backbone to say, no, you have to get rid of this amendment immediately. So, you know, he did. Another fantastic U-turn again. From the forensic Keith Starmer, KC.
Comes to the application of any principle to the security and intelligence agencies. Obviously, I have to focus on the national interest, my primary duty as Prime Minister, which is to keep this country safe and secure. That is the duty I hold above all other duties, and I take it really seriously, which is why we're just taking time to make sure that we get that balance absolutely right. Thank you.
You know what? I think I'm done, chat. I think I'm done. That was arse-achingly boring. Arse-achingly boring. There's still like another 5 minutes or whatever of it, but I can't be bothered. Can't be bothered. Kev has fallen. What? Let's do No, I can't be bothered, chat. It's like fucking midnight. No, it isn't. It's 11 o'clock. But I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. But you know what's coming back this week, chat? Question time, motherfucker. So, although again, because No Justice does the thing where she goes to London on London on Thursdays to do Navarra. Navarra friends, and yeah. So she doesn't get back till late. So we might. I should probably talk to her about this off air. But I think it's probably best we move that to like a Friday afternoon slot. I think that's probably for the best. What do you reckon, Chatterinos? Did you watch the The AFCON final, Kev. I did indeed. It was a fucking chaotic mess. But well done, Senegal. Although you are kind of a bit of a bitch for like leaving the pitch like that. That was poor. Don't act like children. Don't do that. But it was. I mean, they won. So congratulations to them. Yeah. Did you catch Tommy Robinson trying to say he's not gay last week? I didn't, but like, who cares? Fuck that guy. Afternoon stream of sexual jobs. But the thing is, Specs Bean Farmer, you can always watch the VOD. That's the thing about that. Is that it gets recorded and it's on the YouTube and for like 2 weeks on the Twitch. So, but it's always on the YouTube. You can go back. I wonder, that's a point. I wonder how many minutes of content I have on YouTube. Thousands. Yeah, it must be thousands and thousands of minutes of content that YouTube is storing at great cost and not much benefit to them. The chat is the fun bit. Wow. Thanks. I suppose that, I mean, look, chat might be the fun bit, but because No Justice is here, at least you've got one person who is, you know, erudite and politically savvy. So, you know, even if you're watching it back and you can't participate with the chat, you've at least got one knowledgeable person on the stream. So that's nice, you know. Just a thought. Anyway, right. I'm gonna fuck off, I think. Well, I missed it, but thank you, Breedable Garfield. Which, by the way, I mean, that is an amazing name. Have you changed your name from something? Because I don't recognise Breedable Garfield as a name, but apparently you've been subscribed to me for 25 months. So presumably you're a person that has a different name and has changed it to Breedable Garfield. And I need to stop saying Breedable Garfield, because that's... Yeah. That's the thing, you know. Anyway, thank you, much love. Apologies if I missed noises and things, but thank you everyone for your support and all the rest of it. I'm genuinely grateful, thank you. Anyway, I'm going to go and try not to think about the transient nature of life for a bit, hopefully. I'm going to send you over to My Left Eye on YouTube, Boom Shakalaka. Who's going on Twitch? I'm going to send you over to My Left Eye on YouTube. That is... Shut the fuck up, Logan. Piece of shit. J Marianne. We haven't been over to J Marianne in fucking ages. So I'll send you over there. Go and say hello to them. They're good people. And I'll be back probably tomorrow, I think. But it's a bit up in the air. But yeah, no, I'll be around tomorrow. So, yeah, free Greenland, free Venezuela, free Palestine. Yeah, freedom to the working class. No pass around.
Brief stint with the